If that was you on the phone and you on the bus, then who was flickering the lights?
After watching the 2021 WNBA Draft, I was left with one question. What's really wrong with the WNBA? Why is it that almost immediately following the end of the NBA playoffs, the sports world becomes dry and boring? Sure, there's baseball, tennis, and golf, but hasn't the WNBA made a name for itself yet? In a sports world where everything seems to come to a complete standstill when the summer arrives, one would think another professional basketball league would be welcomed and garner much attention. The WNBA instead has resorted to pushing social justice initiatives in a showy display of personal beliefs over pushing the names, faces, skill sets, and stories of its own players. After an epic 2021 WNBA draft class, will the WNBA continue to be a detriment to themselves and their own players?
All I hear is yap, 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 yap. Ain't talking about nothing, right? Watch this. We gon' bring that pressure.
Just a little FYI, FYF, 20K sub 6 months, what's next? They been hating at first, now they calling us the best. Hit up YouTube, tell them cut the check. Just a FYI, FYF, 20K sub 6 months, what's next? Woo, fuck your feelings, we all know who the real is. I be getting to it, ain't wasting no time. Walking straight in, we ain't waiting in line. Fuck your feelings, you don't care about mine. You a YouTube gangster, don't be yelling out slime. Or you talking LB, talking Ticket TV. Ain't nobody watching them, all the viewers be sleep. 5 years in, all your subs is your friends. Ticket TV, watch your cars again. Just a little FYI, FYF, 20K sub 6 months, what's next? They been hating at first, now they calling us the best. Hit up YouTube, tell them cut the check. Just a FYI, FYF, 20K sub 6 months, what's next?
Hey, welcome back. It's FYF Sports, man. It's Lamont, and we are back with another podcast episode. And as you guys can see, man, today we got to talk some WNBA news. Now, you know, we just did a recent live stream on the WNBA. We know that they big timed us. None of the WNBA players or associates wanted to pull up to the live stream and really discuss some of the issues going on with regards to why the league just isn't getting the fan support that, you know, that they think that they should be getting. I mean, obviously that's a topic for another day. But we still FYF Sportsman, regardless of how we personally feel about these other leagues and teams, it's still news worthy of reporting. So we have to report on the WNBA. And as you guys may or may not know, they just had the WNBA draft for this year. So that's what we're going to be talking about. And we also got some other news for the WNBA as well that we want to really touch on. Before we get started, make sure you guys like, comment, and subscribe. Hit the notification bell to the video if you haven't done so already. Again, the grind is real, man. The channel is growing like crazy. A lot of new opportunities are coming up with the channel, and that starts right here. Remember, we got the FYF Sports Community Basketball event coming up. All right, we just picked up a new sponsor. Once we get this thing up and rolling, a new sponsor, they're going to sponsor all the drinks for the event right here, Body Armor. They're going to be taking care of that right there. So again, salute to them for stepping up, being one of the official sponsors of the event. If you haven't tried this already, all right, again, you know, if you haven't tried it, it's definitely far superior to Gatorade. I mean, if you look at the ingredients, man, no artificial colors, no artificial ingredients. It's all natural. I mean, when you look at the back of Gatorade, all you see is sodium. All right, when you look at the back of a bottle of Body Armor, you're talking potassium, vitamin C, vitamin B, zinc, vitamin A, E, B6, B12, and magnesium. Everything that you need to recover from your workout or get started with your workout is going to be in Body Armor. So make sure, man, when you go to the grocery store, pass up that Gatorade aisle, go grab you a bottle of Body Armor as soon as possible. Great for athletes. Great for you if you're just working, trying to get through your day. Don't get the energy drinks. Get your Body Armor. So today, the first thing we got to talk about today is the WNBA draft. The one thing that I was a bit, I was kind of upset about this. I wasn't familiar with any of the players that got drafted. I don't recall even seeing some of these players play in the tournament. Even though I watched some of the NCAA tournament, women's tournament games. But I mean, they have a draft. A lot of people are high. I saw a lot of NBA players tweeting about some of these players. So it seems to be a star-studded draft. We're going to run through this draft really quickly. Again, if you guys are familiar with some of these names, if you're familiar with some of these teams, if this is your district, hey, then some of you guys, from what I'm hearing in the ether, from what I'm hearing in the sports world, some of these teams got some gems. And this draft is so crazy because the one thing that I noticed about this draft is that it looked like one of the expansion teams is getting a lot of picks in this draft. So it looks like the WNBA is making a concerted effort to bolster and boost up one of these teams. It looks like they're a newer team. I don't know if they are. Got to do some more research on it. You guys can give your thoughts on it as well. But let's go ahead and head over to the big board so we can break down the WNBA draft. All right, we got our big board right here. We're going to run through these players very quickly. Again, some of these players I am slightly familiar with. Most of them I don't know. I would assume, especially when we're talking about the top, especially in the first round of this draft, we're looking at some elite players at this level. Now, unlike the NBA, the WNBA has 3 rounds. And I'm assuming it's because they have fewer teams. But yeah, they have 3 rounds that they go through. We're going to go through probably the first round, maybe go a little bit into the second round if some of the names are familiar. But I want to kind of see what some of these teams are doing to bolster their roster. So we got the first pick of the WNBA draft, Charli Collier. Hopefully I said that name correct. I saw Kevin Durant tweet about her. She went to Texas. I'm assuming there's some type of connection there. Averaged 12 points a game, 8.7 rebounds. Not this stellar stat line that you want to see, but worthy of getting the number 1 pick. And that she went to the Dallas Wings and I want you to look at this draft board right here. The Dallas Wings, I haven't seen this in almost any other draft. One team getting the first and second picks in the draft. And I thought this was very odd. It looks like the Dallas Wings possibly acquired the number 1 pick via trade with the New York Liberty. But I've rarely seen this happen in any other professional sport where one single team has the first and second pick in the draft. I've seen in the NBA, I've seen one team have multiple picks, let's say, in the top 10. But rarely, I've never seen a professional team able to acquire the number 1 and the number 2 pick. So with the number 2 pick, they go with Collier from Finland, the center, averaging 14 points a game, 12 rebounds. The third player drafted in the draft to the Atlanta Dream, Aari McDonald. Obviously, everyone heard of her. She played a major factor in Arizona upsetting UConn. UConn was the team that I was really watching through the tournament. Aari McDonald definitely showed up and showed out and put on a great performance to upset UConn. Actually, one of the overwhelming favorites to win it all. So she looked like a solid player. She looked like she had a lot of skill. She looked like a high-level elite guard coming out. So it doesn't surprise me that she was able to get drafted in the top 3. Next up, we got Kelsey Gondrix from West Virginia. We have a guard that went to the Indiana Fever. Again, another player that I'm not familiar with, but when I look at her stat line, 17 points a game, 3 assists, 40% from the field, 3 rebounds, putting up a great stat line there. I'm just going to have to do my homework on some of these players. Or, really what I'm hoping for is, again, WNBA. How about you showcase these players more? showcase these lottery picks. Put them out there in front of us more often. All right. I mean, I see a lot of faces here. You know, put them out there. Put them out there for us to see, because a lot of these names we just don't know. All right. I mean, if you got to force it on us, force it on us. If you got to spam it everywhere so we constantly see it, do what you got to do. Because again, our goal is to try to get to know these players. All right. Once we get to know these players, now we have to try to figure out, we got to get to know these teams. Once we get to know the teams, well, now we can have those conversations. Who's winning the championship this year? Who's the GOAT? This, that, and the other. Who's the best this? Who's the best that? We can't do that. We can't have those barbershop conversations with the WNBA until you guys help us get to know the players. All I'm asking is that you guys help us get to know them. And we're talking about not just off the court. What are they great at on the court? All right, force that on us, man. WNBA, you got to step your game up a little bit. Let's go on to the next player. We're going on to the next few players. We got Chelsea Dungey. All right, Chelsea Dungey, guard for Arkansas, going to the Dallas Wings. So when we look at the Dallas Wings, they via trade with Washington, they acquired 3 of the top 5 picks in the draft, in the WNBA draft. How does that happen? All right, they were able to get Chelsea Dungey, 19 points a game, 40% from the field, 4 rebounds a game. Stat line looks like she's a great player. I haven't heard of her, haven't seen her play. But again, I mean, I think the onus will be on the WNBA and even the Dallas Wings. Put these players out there in front of us. What made these players great? Whether it's what made them dominant in high school. Can we know their storylines? All right, and then the Dallas Wings. What's the story behind the Dallas Wings? How were you able to acquire all these draft picks? I'm curious to know that story. All right, because when you acquire 3 of the top 5 picks in any draft, that makes me want to see how this pans out and works on the court. Now I want to see, that could potentially be a new big 3 in the WNBA. That could be a storyline for the WNBA. All right, but I haven't seen any articles on Bleacher Report. I haven't seen any articles on YouTube or the WNBA's website about a potential big 3 brewing with the Dallas Wings, because they were able to acquire 3 of the top 5 picks in this year's draft. Those are the things that we want to talk about. Those are the things that we want to know, WNBA. Let's go to the next pick. We got Michaela on Wary, and again, some of these names, crazy last names, I just can't pronounce them. No disrespect to you, but again, it looks like an African name. But we have a forward from UCLA, averaged 14.9 points per game, 7.3 points per game. I'm slightly familiar with the UCLA team. I know that they had a lot of success last year. I'm not familiar with this player. Haven't heard of her. Haven't seen her play. But she was taken number 6 in the draft. The New York Liberty drafted her and got the 6 picks via trade from Connecticut. Los Angeles Sparks in a trade with Dallas. So I'm assuming it must have been a player pick swap there. They draft Jasmine Walker with the number 7 pick. She's a player from Alabama, averaged 12.4 points per game, 7.2 rebounds. Another player. We're talking about another player here. I haven't seen her play, haven't heard of her. All right, but again, WNBA got to do a better job of helping us get to know these players, so we can get behind something, right? So we can have a villain to cheer for, so we can have a good guy to cheer for, something. All right, create some storylines for us. The media makes up fake narratives for LeBron James and the NBA all the time. Why don't you guys make some fake narratives for us? We'll discuss it, and you got some crazy people out there that will believe it. All right, just say, even if you got to go say Chelsea Dungey, she's the next Kobe Bryant. She may not be. Just make something up. Just say something, galvanize it so we can get behind it, maybe do some more research, and then we can have those basketball conversations. Chicago Sky in a trade with Phoenix. Select Shyla Hill. All right, a guard out of Australia, averaging 16.7 points per game, 3 assists, 4 rebounds. Haven't heard of her, haven't seen her play. The one thing that I do know is players coming from overseas, especially in the WNBA, usually have great success coming into the league. I don't know why. Maybe it's because they're a bit more experienced, but they generally have a lot of success. So I'm curious to see what we get from Shyla Hill in the Chicago Sky. Minnesota Lynx. The Minnesota Lynx are a very successful team. They've been very successful in the WNBA, especially over the last 10 years. They draft Tennessee guard forward Renia Davis. She averaged 15 points a game, 8 rebounds, 2 assists on 47% from the field. Again, stat line looks great. With regards to her and her game, never seen her play. All right. Now, again, these are top picks. These are your top picks. I need to start seeing these clips. I need to start seeing the crossovers where they drop somebody. Put these players out in front of us so we have something to get behind. All right, WNBA, do a better job, because, you know, a lot of the fans don't want to do their research. Not everybody's like FYF Sports, where we do our research purposes only. Some people just want to see the clips. Upload the clips, put it out there, give us a story to follow, make up some fake narratives, just like the NBA does. Get everybody talking about it, and there you go. All right, we got Stephanie Watts, another draft pick. So Los Angeles Sparks with multiple picks in the top 10. Los Angeles Sparks draft Stephanie Watts, USC guard, 15 points a game, 6 rebounds. Haven't seen her play, but you have another Cali player. Seattle Storm draft Aaliyah Wilson, 10 points a game, 4 rebounds out of Texas A&M via trade from the Indiana Fever. And then we have for the Las Vegas Aces, we have Ileana Rupert from France. So multiple overseas players in this particular draft, and they actually filled the top. Within the top 10, there were a lot in the top 10. Now we have one at 12. She averaged 7 points a game, 2.8 rebounds. When I look at that stat line, maybe this was a potential draft based on potential. Maybe she's shown a lot of promise in some leagues over there. Maybe she's just young and needs time to develop. But Ileana Rupert has drafted to the Las Vegas Aces at number 12. And I actually don't see an immediate leak here to go to the second round. Oh, actually, here it is right here. We'll look at some of these second round picks, and we'll go through a few of them. We'll go through the first 5. Here we go. And again, look at the reoccurring theme. The Dallas Wings with the number 1 pick in the second round. Dana Evans from Louisville. Multiple players being drafted by Louisville. 12 points a game, 2 rebounds. Las Vegas Aces go with Destiny Slocum. 15 points a game, 3 rebounds. Atlanta Dream take Raquel Carrera. No stats on her, but another overseas player from Spain. Chicago Sky select Natasha Mack, 18 points a game, 12 rebounds. That's a powerful stat line right there. Curious to see what she does in the NBA, especially playing in a Power 5 conference school. Those are some big numbers. And then we got Dee Richards, and then everybody remembers Dee Richards from Baylor. Came up big. Played a great game against definitely played a great game against UConn, and a tough loss to UConn. I definitely remember that. She was involved in that controversial foul call at the end of the game where everybody saw that she was clearly fouled, and the refs just decided to bite their whistle and allow the game to end. That was tough right there to see. But Dee Richards, averaging 6 points a game, 3 assists, 4 rebounds. I think those numbers don't really define how good she is, because I actually watched her play. She's actually a very good player out of Baylor, but she's going to the New York Liberty via trade from Washington. So there we have it right there. Those are going to be some of your top picks in the WNBA draft this year. I want you guys to let me know in the chat what you think about some of these players. Because like me, and you guys know, and I know a lot of you guys similar to me are heavily invested in basketball, whether it's at the high school level, whether it's at the college level, pro level. We're looking at basketball all day. We're consuming this information. WNBA, we're looking for more basketball. You guys aren't giving it to us. That's really the only negative thing that I really have to say. You got people out. I'm scouring YouTube for new clips, new basketball, and you guys aren't giving it to us. I'm scouring YouTube for highlight compilations of when maybe some of your guards with a flashy dribble drop somebody, have them looking crazy. All right. Come on, let's get it together with the WNBA, because we're looking for this information. All right? Obviously, we can't go and put these compilations together. When we start putting these compilations together, you guys start copyright striking the videos, and we can't make any monetization off of it. So, I mean, if we can't create the compilation videos of these players and their greatest highlights, y'all got to do it for us. All right. I mean, I like some of the efforts and some of the things with social equality, social justice, but at the end of the day, all those are real issues that need to be talked about and discussed. At the end of the day, we still have to come back to basketball and deal with basketball on the court and the business and the other WNBA. And the fact of the matter is, it's just not enough information out there on some of these players, teams, all right, for us to really get behind. One of the reasons why the NBA is so popular amongst our community here at FYF Sports is we got 1,000 storylines to talk about. Is LeBron the GOAT? Is Allen Iverson better than Steph Curry? Is Steph Curry a glorified role player? Is Draymond Green a bum? Is Karl Anthony Towns soft? Ben Simmons needs to get a jump shot. We got all these crazy storylines to talk about, and you always have two sides of the fence. Can the Sixers beat the Nets? Can the Lakers beat the Nets? Will the Nets lose in the first round? We got 1,000 storylines to follow with the NBA. We have nothing to follow with the WNBA. We have nothing. Again, like I said, I don't care if you guys got to start making up fake beefs, fake narratives. Just put it out there. I'm telling you right now, I've seen crazy stuff here in the sports world. People will talk about it. Just put it out there. Now, I'm not saying denigrate players and disrespect them. Just put out some narratives. Put out some fake beefs. Put out some, this is gonna be a war. The last time these two teams played, there was contention here. Give us something to follow. We'll definitely jump behind it. We got a little bit more WNBA news here. And I thought this was a story that I wanted to speak on as well. But we have, as you guys can see, we have Alex Rodriguez. Alex Rodriguez stepped in, and we saw that he just was involved in buying the Minnesota Timberwolves. Now Alex Rodriguez also buys the Minnesota Lynx. All right, he buys the Minnesota Lynx. And so some of the things that I wanted to say about this purchase, and I'm sure Alex Rodriguez also understands this as well. Alex Rodriguez, you're buying a WNBA team, so automatically you got to know that you're dealing with some fixer-upper. He's basically buying a house that has a lot of potential with some modifications and upgrades. All right, the Lynx have been a powerhouse team. If Maya Moore hadn't retired, you're talking about a team that could have been one of the next great dynasties of the WNBA. They had Simone Augustus. They had a number of players there that really had that team playing at a high level for a long time. All right, and you got to understand, as a WNBA franchise, you just have to understand. Remember, Alex Rodriguez, and again, if you ever see this, and all you Minnesota Lynx fans, one thing is we need to know who your players are. We need to know who your rivalries are, and we need to know some storylines to follow. But I think it's a really good purchase. The Minnesota Lynx, out of all the teams in the WNBA, I think they've done a good job of putting their players out there for us to know. I think with regards to big threes in the WNBA, I think they had probably the closest thing to a big three that I can remember in the WNBA when Maya Moore played with Simone Augustus and a host of stars there. And you talk about a team that has been loaded over the past year. So, salute to Alex Rodriguez. Hopefully that can turn into something going forward into the future. And again, if the league itself does a better job of promoting, naturally that's going to transcend into what Alex Rodriguez has purchased in the Minnesota Lynx. So the last story today, the last thing I wanted to talk about, and I saw this story all over Bleacher Report. And this is one of the things where I said this is counterproductive to your cause. But I'm still going to report on it. It's still kind of interesting to know. WNBA, they've came out with a new line of uniforms for all teams. And just looking at some of the initial responses from players, the players love the new designs. I guess the players were getting tired of the old designs. Now each team has multiple jersey options. You talking about now teams have a jersey combinations. You have 8, 9, and 10, 15 different jersey combinations. And as you can see right here, some of the styles, they really don't look too bad. I mean, you got the Liberty jersey right here that says equality. I mean, I like it at the end of the day with the social, the social equality message there. Wolf fans cater to that. I think you'll turn off certain fans. There's certain fans that want to see that separated from the game. I'm not one to judge them on that, but I think it's time we get back to basketball. We have the Las Vegas jersey. Phoenix jersey really doesn't look much different. I think that Fry's logo on it is so ugly. Fry's logo in general is just ugly. Maybe put that on the back of the jersey or something. I don't know if I'm buying a jersey that has the Fry's logo on it. I just can't. I can't, especially right there. It's just bad placement. But they've really filled this jersey up with a lot of sponsorships because they also got PayPal at the top. So you got Fry's, PayPal all over the jersey. I don't know. We have the Chicago Sky jersey. All right, you see Chicago Medicine on there, University of Chicago. And then we have the Seattle jersey, which looks okay. It looks like they tried to mimic the old Seattle jerseys in the past. The jerseys are cool. I can't hate on the jerseys. But the one reason why I said it's counterproductive, it's counterintuitive, is because, again, the jerseys mean nothing if we don't know the players in the jerseys. The jerseys mean nothing if we don't know half the teams. There's so many of us who didn't even know the Dallas Wings were a team. If you would have said Dallas Wings, we would have said, what sport are you talking about? But the Dallas Wings are a real team, and they've cleaned up in this draft. They've literally potentially drafted a big 3, big 4 maybe in this draft, and we don't know about it. So when the Dallas Wings go to play whoever the best team in the WNBA is, we can't have that debate of what team is greater, and just have those crazy conversations. WNBA, you need to go ahead and get that to us. Players and WNBA players, women, and anybody behind the WNBA listening, no, this is not shade towards the women playing. All right, we know they're elite at what they do. They're great at what they do. I'm talking about the league promoting players and narratives so we have something to talk about. That's why these leagues are relevant. If the NBA and all these other leagues didn't have players or narratives for us to talk about, they would be irrelevant. This is one of the reasons why here at FYF Sports we really don't have anything to talk about with regards to Major League Baseball. You don't see a lot of crazy narratives. You don't see the MLB really pushing a lot of big time faces, other than maybe the one or two few at the very top of the game. I would say look at it from that way. Just look at it from that way, and maybe me doing this video will get some of you WNBA players or representatives to come on to FYF Sports, right, and give us your thoughts and opinions on the future of the WNBA. But again, it's been a great podcast video. Okay, I want you guys to let me know in the comments of the video, what did you think of this video? What do you think about the future of the WNBA? Where will they go from here? And when the WNBA season starts this summer, are you going to chime in? All right. We know that we have the Olympics this summer, so their season is going to start. It's going to go on hiatus for the Olympics, and then it's going to start back up again. Do you think them starting the season up, stopping, and then starting it back up again, do you think that will make fans lose interest? I do. Because the only thing that happens in between that dead time is we find other things to watch. All right, that if players and teams go to the Olympics, you might not come back the same team. If players get hurt in the Olympics, come back, teams look different. Time has been off. What players in shape, what players aren't. It'll look like the NBA bubble all over again because players took time off and came back. But these are decisions that the WNBA is making. These are the things that I wanted to talk about on my show if we would have got some WNBA players in the live panel. But they didn't want to pull up. All right, but hey, salute to all the WNBA players that saw the link. I know a few of you guys got it. Hopefully we can get you guys, and realistically, I really would love to see some of you guys on the show to really chop it up and talk about how we feel about the WNBA and what we think you can do as fans to make the game not just more appealable, but just relatable to us as fans. Hey, but it's FYF Sportsman. Been another great podcast video. We got a lot of videos dropping this week. All right, so continue to watch, just watch your notifications. If you're not following us on Instagram, if you're not following us on Twitter or Facebook, make sure you do so. All of the links to our social media are in the description of this video. Go click those links. Follow us on social media. Disclaimer, just letting you guys know, if you didn't see the community post, we're going to start going live, but over the next 90 days, we're going to be going live on Facebook. All right, so make sure you're following us on Facebook, our FYF Sports Debate page. That's all you have to follow. Follow us on Facebook so you get those notifications when we go live. After those lives are over on Facebook, we're going to be posting them again on YouTube. But you have to, if you want to watch it live, if you want to join the live streams, you're going to have to go to Facebook. But every time we go live, we're going to be putting that information on YouTube, on the community post, and we're going to be dropping teaser videos to let you guys know where we'll be streaming. But yeah, because of the video, the live stream that we did talking about the Deshaun Watson situation, I guess there were some people offended to a certain degree. I don't know why. I think we all as a community did a good job of not allowing that conversation to take a turn for the worst. But that video was reported. People said that it was socially, or it was insensitive towards women, and so they restricted our channel from live streaming for 90 days. Now we're appealing that. We're probably going to get that back, but in the time being, we're going to be live streaming on Facebook, simultaneously on Instagram, where you can always check us out. To join the panel is all going to be the same. We'll just be streaming live on Facebook. We dropping a link. You can still come in the live panel. You can ether, and it's going to be great conversation. So, like I said before, it's FYF Sportsman. We got a lot more to come. Stay tuned for more sports news. But until then, it's FYF Sports.
Ayy, love my swag, I could call you bitch. Shoot my shot, promise I won't miss. Took the risk, I can't call a quits. Ain't going home when it's hard as shit. Can't suck a day, put my all in this. Can't waste time, put my all in this. Stack paper, put my all in this. Which pop was hit when it's all it is. They hating shit, they ain't tolerating shit. Really get a nigga irritated. Painting pictures, I be illustrating. Got a bad bitch like annihilating. If you knew better, you would do better. Swag tackler slick, I'm a cool fella. Spent $1,200 on this new sweater. Design it down with a new level. Build a foundation off a selling. If I don't know you, then you getting taxed. And if they go by that a nigga slack. Got chubby pockets, yeah, I'm getting fat. Eating good, got a Gucci belly. Won't be paid in full like I'm on belly. Preach, feed my dogs right out the celly. My pockets green like peas or celery. Got the 9 from approach your beef. Dummy got some shit that knock you off your feet. Making casinos like I hit the wrong key. Been cooked my flow like I was off beat. One foot in, one out, I'm caught in the middle. Had to follow through and face with the limits. Get my point across, I still got my dribble. Ever see me fall, my legs getting crippled. Love my swag, I could call you bitch. Shoot my shot, promise I won't miss. Took the risk, I can't call a quits. Ain't going home when it's hard as shit. Can't suck a day, put my all in this. Can't waste time, put my all in this. Stack paper, put my all in this. Which pop was hit when it's all it is. My heart in it, go hard, put my all in. Long wearing paper chase, I want it all in. Hard headed, mama said that I'm stubborn. Won't forgive, forget, so hold grudges. One flaw, nigga got forever, fuck you. Put pistol on me, cause I pull and shoot. Ain't kidding around the same by liking views. Soon as they counted me out, a nigga came through. Used to toss and turn all night. Dreaming about death, life don't come twice. No 2 wrongs, never make it right. It's down in the dark, eventually come to light. Seeing all these deaths made me lose it. Seeing a nigga win it, want me losing. A win is a win, nigga, that shoot shit. Still running through packs and making music. Won't let my demons take control of me. Can't let this pain take a toll on me. Really with stress, smoke, and all these bogeys. She fucked up, gotta keep a pole on me. No some real ones stay on go for me. Pray, I never use a go for me. Move my family away, my go homie. I stay down, just me and my homies. Love my swag, I could call you bitch. Shoot my shot, promise I won't miss. Took the risk, I can't call a quits. Ain't going home when it's hard as shit. Can't suck a day, put my all in this. Can't waste time, put my all in this. Stack paper, put my all in this. Which pop was hit when it's all it is.
Purchase this beat.